Welcome back, brothers and sisters. Braden, Tim, Second Legacy. You are amazing, and thank you so much for tuning in. Today, we have got to have a conversation about something you guys need to know about. Does the ATF have a facial recognition software? Because in the light of the failed assassination of President Trump, they found the user and the owner of that firearm in 30 minutes. We've covered this on other stuff, but we're going to walk through it right now because something that a sitting senator just leaked out doesn't look too good for that topic in general. So, of course, guys, make sure you send this one out, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn the notification bell on. Wait, is it sarcasm? Yeah, sarcasm. Sarcasm and humor deployed on the regular, Tim. Did you hear about this yet? ATS facial recognition software?
This is concerning.
No, well, it doesn't sound good. It doesn't sound like something you might want to be a part of.
Look, let's be honest here for a moment, right? Shall we? Even if they do have facial recognition that's connected to a database that shouldn't exist, it's not searchable, Braden. They pay extra to make it not searchable. So they may be able to recognize your face, but they can't really connect it to anything because they can't really search anything because they pay extra. Isn't that what Diddlebum told us about the database? Anyway,
it's just that is what he said. That is exactly what he said. He said, amongst other things, he said he's the largest customer of Adobe who pays them extra to remove search functions. So, of course, that means that there's a catalog, but no database because they're not searchable because, Command F doesn't exist on computer.
Yeah.
Anyway, other than that little nougat, he also told us that there are people who take out the staples and they put them in and they flatten them out and they scan them. Yep. What are they scanning them into?
Anyway, not a database. We pay Adobe
not a
extra.
Database.
Not
one of those.
Yeah.
Mm-mm. No,
and it's not connected to our facial recognition software that we don't really have.
No. Doesn't exist. No. Well, a little bit more backstory here in the failed assassination attempt of President Trump. So CNN put out an article very shortly afterwards, and they were bragging on behalf of the ATF and the Secret Service and the FBI about how fast they found who owned the gun that was used to attempt to kill President Trump. Now, the only problem with this is, Tim, they did it in 30 minutes, and they have 1 billion records, and they tell us they're all on paper, and they're completely run by individuals who have to go find boxes, lift up the boxes, get paper out, and search. And they did through 1 billion records in 30 minutes. It was really impressive.
Sometimes you just get lucky. Really you walk up to 1 billion pieces of paper and you just reach into the pile and grab the right document. It happens,
Nailed it. Yeah. And as an added difficulty bonus, a power factor, if you will, it was from 2013. So it was 9 or 11 years ago from a gun shop that was actually closed. So not only did they find the magic piece, they also found the right year and nailed it in 30 minutes.
A closed gun shop. It's almost like the gun shop
efficiency.
Yeah, it's almost like that gun shop had to turn in its records, and then maybe somebody removed the staple, laid it into a scanner, and scanned it into a database that's non-searchable.
That is non-searchable.
Yeah.
We really got to highlight the fact that, of course, it is non-searchable. Right. Almost like that, but not quite because it's non-searchable, of course. Right. Well, that's the backstory. Now let me bring you into something that Senator Ron Johnson, now he's a Republican senator from Wisconsin. And the tweet that you're seeing, the tweet stream, is his preliminary findings in his investigation into the attempted assassination of President Trump. Now, what's fascinating about this is there's not a lot of hullabaloo because it's a 4-point document. And you know how hard it is to stay on point for 4 points, Tim. It's difficult. But let me just show you the highlight and see if this would, pique your interest. And then we'll dive into the actual details. This is directly from the tweet. 4. Following the shooting, Secret Service was seen on the roof of the American Glass Research Building with local law enforcement. Photos of the shooter were sent to the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms for facial recognition. Wait a minute.
Oops. But we also know, because there was a man in a gray suit on the roof, right?
That's who took the photos. That's this guy.
Well, he also said, I saw reports of officers saying this guy in a gray suit, we just assumed he was Secret Service, was saying, hey, those pictures, send them to this phone number.
Oh, Tim, you have seen some of this.
Well, I just remember those reports from a couple of days ago. Yeah.
Yep, that's in this report. So listen to this. This is mind-boggling that it's not on everyone's mind. Okay, listen, this is actually in the report he published, a sitting senator with his staff. Okay, so this is in the actual document, Dr. Slides. Between 6:40 and 6:50 p.m., local law enforcement on the roof were joined by the Allegheny County Bomb Squad and one individual wearing a suit, that's what Tim's talking about, who local law enforcement assumed to be a Secret Service agent. According to information reported by Senator Johnson's office, according to individuals on the roof, a member of the Allegheny County Bomb Squad requested the photos be sent to a phone number with a 215 Philadelphia area code, which was stated to be for the ATF. The ATF was apparently requesting the photos of crooks for facial recognition purposes. So that's number one. That's the accusation. Okay, Tim, you're with me, right? Where everything is making sense, right? Well, listen to the follow-up piece here. This is the first confirmation. Senator Johnson's staff called the phone number and confirmed that it was, in fact, associated with the ATF. So that's confirmation. Okay. 100% it's an ATF. Okay. However, in subsequent attempts to establish further talks with the individual with that number, Senator Johnson's staff received the following email from ATF's acting deputy chief of legislative affairs. So they confirm and they call as a sitting senator into an ATF field office. Then, trying to get more answers, they get an email coming from the side, blindsiding them from the acting deputy chief of legislative affairs of the ATF. Okay, here's what the ATF director said. I'm reaching out because I understand that you have reached out to our personnel in the Philadelphia Field Division with questions regarding the assassination attempt on former President Trump. We would like to ask you to coordinate any of these kinds of requests through our office so that we may in turn coordinate through Main Justice and our colleagues at the FBI, which is lead investigatory agency. So that was confirmed by two people now. That's confirmed by the staff of Senator Ron Johnson, and that is self-incriminated by the ATF Legislative Affairs because he says, you're calling our people, please don't. Right. Yeah. I don't know. I got one more thing after this, but I want to get your initial thoughts on feels on this.
Well, I mean, clearly they have some sort of facial recognition software that's tied to some database because, as you said earlier in this episode, how in the world did they get through 1 billion records and records that were not decades, but years old, and in 30 minutes find the owner of the firearm? But, I mean, playing devil's advocate, if they had the serial number, right? The serial number then through the records from the serial number would lead them to, they couldn't do it in 30 minutes, I wouldn't think, but the serial number would lead them to the manufacturer. The manufacturer would say, this is who we sold it to. Then that person would say, this is who we sold it to. And then that gun shop that's now out of business would have records of that transaction, right?
Because that's normal.
That's how the normal course is. But 30 minutes to go through that cycle.
It's impressive. It's impressive, isn't it?
When's the last time it was at DPMS? They're not even in business anymore. Well, they are, but they went out. Now they're back in.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, right. So there's that barrier that would be an impedance to getting records of what was sold when and where because the company went out and came back into business. And then you have a dealer that's no longer in business. You'd have to determine that, then go to your record. 30 minutes is pretty darn impressive.
It's impressive. I mean, overall, I would just like to highlight how incredible our bureaucratic employees are. I mean, Steve did say they were great people.
Yeah, and they're working with they're working with paperclip staples and printed pieces of paper. There is no database that they pay extra for. The biggest customer of Adobe to make it non-searchable, but it doesn't really exist, folks. It's all on paper.
No, exactly.
Boy, those are...
And you know what? No, look at it another way, Tim, because I think you have very good points there. Maybe it's only illegal to have a database of the guns and the serial numbers, but it's not illegal to have a database of gun owners' faces because you can't regulate faces, right? I mean,
but I think that the federal statute is you can't keep record of gun owners.
Oh,
owners and owners, I'm pretty sure attached to their faces. Call me crazy.
Yeah. That is true. That is true. But it is 2024. You know, it's kind of crazy out in these streets. But those are good initial thoughts. You want to hear the questions that Ron Johnson's little report says?
Yeah, this would be good.
They do some decent questions to wrap this up. It is unclear when Secret Service arrived on the roof following the shooting, how Secret Service and others accessed the roof of the building, why ATF would be the agency responsible for conducting facial recognition in an attempt to identify crooks, and whether ATF ultimately did conduct any facial recognition on the photos provided to their agent. Well, those are some pretty decent questions, wouldn't you say, Tim?
I don't think ATF was trying to identify crooks. I think ATF was using a database to try to find the actual owner. Whoever had purchased that, which was his father, presumably. Yeah. Pretty interesting stuff there. It almost seems like ATF is doing illegal things, and they wouldn't. But why is there no accountability for these things? You know, when the Supreme Court says, "Hey, Biden, you can't be paying off student debt. That's not good. You can't do that." Well, hold the phone and my beer. I'm paying it off anyway. Then
the phone and my beer. I need two people.
And my ice cream. In my beer flavored ice cream. And then you have the IRS director refusing a subpoena. You have just all these instances of the bureaucracies that we're supposed to have checks and balances of, not really being checked and balanced. They're just doing whatever they want, and nobody's holding them accountable. Kind of like the ATF maintaining a database that's kind of an open secret at this point.
That's true, with 1 billion records. But don't worry, they can go through those things real quick.
I mean, why isn't there a congressional investigation into this? Right? I mean, Congress passed a law saying you can't do that, ATF, and ATF's out there saying, yeah, we're doing it, we're flaunting it, and what are you going to do about it?
Well, Tim, I don't know if you're aware, and you clearly are not, because your distrust and disdain for someone doing something and accountability. They put together, Speaker Johnson did, a joint panel, an investigatory panel in the House with 6 Republicans and 6 Democrats. Or 7 Republicans and 6 Democrats. So they're going to get to the bottom of this.
Not. Congressional hearings is not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about prison time.
Yeah, I know. I know. But, because those have always worked out so well. Hey, we're going to send you a subpoena. They get
broadcast on C-SPAN where 10 people may watch bits and pieces of it, and then it just ends. You might make a few,
and then it's all redacted. We can't see any of it.
You might get some mainstream media news organizations say, "Hey, there's this investigation," but that's short-lived as well. They go nowhere. So thanks, Speaker Johnson, for another meaningless investigation. I'm sure will cost us millions of dollars. Crushing it up there in Congress.
It's not really a good investigation if you don't spend millions of dollars. You got to think this through, Tim. There are requirements.
It's all about money and facial recognition and trampling your rights and
airtime and clips.
Somehow, some people seem to think it's going to get better with a Marxist like Harris in the White House. Crazy times we reside in, my friend.
I'll tell you, man.
It is. All right. Well, we've had enough fun with this one for today. Thanks, folks, for watching, and we'll talk to you guys soon.